Kayaaní satini just look at Johan which in Yesaya ikakosha tu yatak kutan qoa atachtashi one qanins which kanach to the art yeo actuity to Virginia chikaki kasach toashko akati se wakap ya katangi qanins tse kash hachud aya we Lingi enach ʼatudli.átk adreacht was go to jineiyí to a Kayaaní to an Kayaaní to at a diagetic one we conjugator themes dictionary verb components handbook Kunach was jineiyí one da so aya Gagi has a gutla art where Yéil chuchu Sado saga Yéil Kudatankahídi Agawe Yéil Kata like roots aya putla katisha what dacht the sheets dan to tripko Aga Wooch ay den khusok washi Yéil kakugats shawat yeo actuity yagi Kainach du jineiyí Preston Singletary ayadusai Chosatin itchtin Shakutzi at Auschwitz Yéil Kushta Kayaaní Kudatankahídi Tachlaputzi at Owen was I yeti Ayatnaning
Ben Cochida activo Yaida.
oh naskake Giaki okay take out the cutway take out
Ruski.
yeah new school Hugh Jackman Hugh Jackman iwuya okay where you are that's a yifa please okay
Kunst.
Ich cut kunst ich cut kunst
Less.
Potato chips for guashki we cook ya ich cut kunst kunst kuchu yeah that's it sock jineiyí just Kudatankahídi sock Kecha that's it
Akkurat så kutte akkurat
Sepanen Kudatankahídi Shakutzi ada cookie duck again wait sock echt
no
Akrostiek okay Diga tin akakostig. Sock. Richish, Kadawuska, questions, thoughts? Okay.
One of the students asked before class started how to say, you're busy. I recommend, I said, I really like to use, ʼatudli.átk for that. But I know there's another way that you've shared.
Yeah, we can go through. So I think for this one, you might find it here. ʼatudli.átk. It also sounds like there are important things around. But yeah, it's ʼatudli.átk.
Does that come off a little like bragging? If you get to something.
I don't think so. But if you said something like, my work is really important. Depends on the context and how you're saying. Like if you're communicating that you're stressed out and lamenting that it's too hard and there's no breaks. Now that I'm saying that. But if you're just sort of standing up and yeah. I mean, you could do that kind of stuff in English too. Like, well, English changes things with stress, right? So like in English, every word has stressed or unstressed syllables. And that's how you do a lot of poetry composition. If you're sort of a form poet, I guess if you're gonna write like a sonnet or something, a sestina. But also every sentence has a primary stress. And that primary stress can sometimes deeply affect the meaning. Like if you said, what the heck are you doing here? As opposed to what the heck are you doing here? So there's the meaning shifts only slightly in that, but usually there's one primary stress syllable. That hasn't really been studied in Tlingit, and also what hasn't been studied is how your tone of voice affects the tone of Tlingit. Because you can get angry, you could tease, you could flirt, you could do all these things in Tlingit, but people haven't, I don't think, adequately studied it. I know there was one elder who liked to flirt with me, and she'd say, what? That's how she'd say it. I'd say, Kayaaní, because I knew she was Kudatankahídi. But in terms of like how to, there's a bunch of things that people say, like if you're acting too good for everybody, there's usually these little particles that they would use. Like someone would usually say, yeah, or ha, and then that's sort of cueing you that you gotta bring it down a notch.
One of the reasons I asked is the phrase, I'm busy, I'm so busy, I'm really busy, is very American.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be seen as self-important in other English-speaking countries,
Right.
which is why I brought up if it was considered saying, I'm busy versus like talk about your actual emotions, like I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, well, they would talk to us about some things like that as we were just working on our own Tlingit over the years, they being elders. And so like if we'd say, like, okay, well, you can say that, but you gotta be careful because it could sound like, I'm really good. And so they would guide us towards like,
Does Tlingit, I mean, I think you might have just said this, but does it have like inflection-based tone?
Yeah, but people haven't really, there's a couple of things, like for example, if I say, was away, those are all tone. Those are all high tone, but wa is higher than the rest. So there is sort of primary stresses within Tlingit, but I don't think people have really studied it. And it's really hard, like you really have to work with birth speakers then. Because even like I catch myself saying like, "Tsiya plus a team," but I'm going like, "See you later." I'm just following that exact inflection into "Tsiya plus a team," you know, and then so you're going like kind of this upward downward thing, which should be "Tsiya plus a team." And so those types of things, that's a different, that's kind of a different topic. It's like, how much does English sort of rhythm and tone impact Tlingit? And then how does Tlingit convey mood and sort of like just the emotion of the communication? And that also hasn't really been studied. I guess the only thing that can be said for certain is there's this certainly elevated Tlingit where it's like getting into this prayer type of language, where if you listen to ʼatudli.átk, if you just listen to the speeches that are in there, you'd hear them using this upper register. So it'd be like, so it's like kind of a yelling type of thing. And then also the yelling back sort of, so if someone's talking, you know, these days, it's mostly ego ayachwan. It's mostly what people say, and ayach awe. But just like listening to the old speeches, they would say, "Echid watuzaach." They'd say, "Echid watuzaach ikaniyan." So they'd say things like that. But just in terms of like, how do you convey, like grandparents talking to grandkids and things like that. I think we know how to do a lot of that stuff, but I don't know. We don't have things that are sort of documenting it, I suppose. And it also depends on how well did the people know each other, because those are things too. Like I know, like you could tease and talk about an awful lot of stuff, but it just depends on who's in the room.
One of the things about when you're saying like oratory, they use a higher tone. I've heard that before there were microphones, people would speak in higher tones because it would carry farther.
Yeah, or if you live next to a river, that always, you know, where people from are next to the Chilkoot, that's a loud river, a lot of rocks in it. And so you'd have to yell across the river and stuff. And so some people were just loud. But then there's also, I've been in situations too, where one person is very talkative. And then the other person, like, so I invited one person to come to my class to speak Tlingit with the class. And then someone else came and I didn't know that they were coming, but I had sort of open invitations. And then that second person who came talked the whole time. It was great. But then when we were leaving, that other elder said, "Well, you invited me to talk." And then he just talked the whole time I was here. And so they're kind of frustrated. And so there are certain situations too, where some people get a little hesitant to talk. And I've also been in situations too, where there's a whole room full of people talk. And then there's these two that weren't talking very much, but they were leaning over and making sure I knew if something was not being said quite the right way. They would correct it just to me, not loudly. And then there's been times where I've been teaching and I've been saying things wrong. And like a really kind elder like Nellie Lord, she would have this way of like staring at me and saying it, where I could hear everybody, then I hear her voice just cut right through. I'm like, yeah. So it was great because it was not like some people can present those things in kind of a mean way. But it was very kind.
She'll just look at you.
Yeah, I could feel it. Eyes locked in. She is so cute. And there's a video I've got of her singing the hook song to Bibi Khaji, who's not even one. She's like, "X'éig anach awatana iya Akshay aya. And she turns to the camera, she says, "I'm gonna take him home." All Okay, everybody ready for Tuesday? Yay. I mean, I guess that shouldn't have even been a question. Everybody's ready for Tuesday. Sometimes this camera angle is funny, like I feel like my hand is very, I got little T-Rex hands, man. It's the angle of this camera. I guess because I get the same angle that my hand goes at sometimes. Okay. Let's go back to Yéil Kudatankahídi so we can finish this. That way when y'all get the book, y'all are ready. So here, just to recap, long ago, all the water in the world was salt water. Oops, never mind. The raven, however, he made the lakes, the ponds, the fish rivers, and big flowing rivers. All the fish in the world were on a house in the ocean. Only the rich people, the leaders, only they had big boats strong enough to go far out into the ocean, tasty fish. And I get someone to read this sentence.
Kayaaní Wooch as jineiyí as ʼatudli.átk as Wooch.
Okay, so let's see. Let's go up to on. What do we got there?
Like people living in the land?
What's that?
The people living in the land?
Yeah. Well, the people of their village. Yeah, X'éig. So that's the whole thing.
I feel like we looked at ʼatudli.átk in one of the previous sentences.
Yeah. Well, we looked at this in the previous story.
I don't remember what it is.
Let's see. If we copy ʼatudli.átk, so not the underline X part, and we take it into the hopefully open. Oh. No, not that dictionary. That's not gonna help us.
How do you say avocado in Xinget?
Don't.
Okay,
Like,
we went down a wormhole because that's quite potentially not from an English word, and so we're trying to get to the Mayan word that was possibly comes from, but nobody spoke it, so.
my whole plate comes from it, Beth, because I wasn't in class yesterday because of work, and I watched the recording today on my lunch. And I was really excited to learn all this language, and there's like a 30-minute discussion about which language did avocado come from. And like a whole rabbit hole. I was like, can we get back to the ticket? What am I doing on my lunch break watching this?
Were you having like avocado toast though?
I'm allergic to them now.
Oh, no.
I ate too many when I lived in Portland, which is a very Portland thing.
Ishan.
What I heard about where the
Go ahead.
avocado word comes from is that the Aztec word means testicle and is translated into Spanish as lawyer. So I figured that was appropriate.
Okay, I'm not talking to a Mayan then, because while I was doing some on-the-spot research in class last night, that particular definition popped up on Snopes. Is that what's called Snopes?
Oh, really? So it doesn't actually mean that.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes you get fun things like that in language. Like, I had a great uncle who used to tell me all the time, the Skagway means the sound of a woman peeing on a rock. And I always was highly suspicious. I was like, sounds kind of like your thing, but I'm just gonna leave it. And so
Very specific.
it does come from Awashikakuya, the place with hard, solid core trees, which is a very different thing. I've never found, and I think it's one of those things, like, I had a set of uncles, well, this is actually Nora Daumenhauer, well, I shouldn't pin it down. There was nobody, and, but I used to go to Nora Daumenhauer and Ruth Demmer. So sometimes some of these uncles would teach you something, I'd be like, could you just make sure I'm not saying like something's testicles if I say this? So,
Isn't it the word for eggs is the same as the word for testicles?
it can be,
Oh, okay. Is there another
Many
word for
languages.
yes,
What is-
firestones.
Oh,
But there is no direct word for testicles.
Why is it called Firestone?
Danzi,
could
pyrite,
explain
it's
it,
also
but yeah.
pyrite. Pyrite, firestone, and testicles. Oh. So back to ʼatudli.átk. On its own, it's poverty. This word is very important in the Raven stories and in Kudatankahídi. Coming back to like cultural appropriateness and bragging, a lot of times you would say, I'm just, and it doesn't always mean like you're literally in poverty, but you're just saying like, I'm just a humble person. I'm not some super rich person. Raven always wanted to help the ʼatudli.átk, and he always wanted to be one, so. Coming back to our story. The people of their village, just
They're all just four kinds of people.
yeah, the poor one. So here's another one of these letter I things. It's turning our verb into an adjective. Just the poor ones. Let's do yakosani.
Oh,
They're little boats.
ʼatudli.átk haswapuru.
They couldn't go out onto the ocean. They couldn't go,
Yeah, so
yeah,
this
out to sea.
They couldn't-
ʼatudli on its own means it is incorrect. But it's also can be used to say like, it's just not the right kind of boat to go out on the ocean. And then this which should have been a high tone we're gonna. But I probably had I don't know, we got a team of proofreaders, but there's always some. So that would make it that place. So we've already referred to go way out to sea. So we don't need to say way out to sea, we say ʼatudli haswapuru. And you know that this is referring back to that place. And we know it's not some other place. I think it doesn't work like that. Okay. Can I get someone to read this?
Yesh do tundatani yayati jididana ka anashgideh stiye ku hasu kat us agaha.
Jeez. Yéil do tundatahídi.
Raven thought.
We'll say the raven.
Yeah.
Since we get this popping up before. And this isn't a verb.
Their thoughts.
It's his thoughts.
Yéyati.
He thought.
Or
Yeah, we could just say are. to be, it is that way. Ditundatani, this is how he is thinking. Is how we could sort of translate that when it's coming together. You could say ʼatudli.átk, then you could make some big statement, and that's telling people what your opinion is.
Rich
The rich.
and poor.
And we got this sati.
The ones being rich and poor.
Yes, the rich and poor ones. So just make a note that this sati needs to have this underlined X on the thing that people are being, or whatever the thing is being. But if you have a list of things, you only need to put it on the last one. So you could say, kanashkite, or you could say, they are a teacher and they are in poverty. Or you could say, well, I guess Jitidana Kakanashkite Sati Aku. The rich and poor, I guess that becomes sort of peoples. Those kind of work together. The people who are the ones that are rich and poor. Hastsu.
They also.
They too.
They all also. Khatas akacha.
May they eat salmon.
Let them eat salmon. Okay, or fish, could be just fish too. Okay. So. Okay. Anybody not read yet?
Adai tuatan ya ade jide akwaha ye Yéil ka kat ufahashi hit idach.
Okay. Adayutuatan. That is a verb.
They thought about, or they are thinking about.
Yeah, they thought about it. So this is the it. So I could say ida. What if I said, let me change this. And I said ida you to ton. They thought about
They
you.
are thinking about you.
I could say
Is that
ida.
perfective or imperfective?
Somebody tell them.
Well, it's
They're
got the
thinking about-
W, which makes me think perfective, but I'm not sure yet without accessing my references.
Adayutuatan. Let's go check the database. We'll go see. Jesus.
Thought about luminescence.
I made a t-shirt that says Dr. Phosphorescence in Dr. Pepper font.
They thought about thinking about.
Let's see. So we're gonna go to ton, which does have 29 verbs, but I would probably argue there are 10 different ton verb roots. But luckily for us, it's the first one. And let's see, here's the imperfective, adayutuatunk. Oops, my computer is funky. Like when I click, it goes like, selects 30 lines of text. So with the K, you need to have the K on there. Then you have ʼatudli.átk. Uh-oh. Maybe this is just an old version.
I'm wondering what the U is doing. At first I thought it was making it progressive, but I guess it doesn't.
Oh, this. So, okay, so you have, well, I don't want to say this. There is a repetitive form. So the repetitive form means it happens on a regular basis. And I guess we got to go to the conjugator. And so these are located here. It's under a section called repetitive. And what this translates to, there should be a little thing down here. It says, okay, I got to fix that too. Okay, so it means it happens on a regular basis. Habitual means it happens all the time. They are different things. A repetitive, how you do a repetitive depends on the conjugation type, right? This is zero conjugation. So the formula is zero classifier, underline X. So that's what you should expect. So I think you could say something like, X'éig, I eat it regularly. And as we go down, we'll see this. So we go from cha to chada, chasa, chas, chasha, chash, chasha. That's the prefix. Suffix is the same. A zero conjugation verb to put into the repetitive mode. You put an underline X at the end. Then we get down to na conjugation. Na requires you in the preverb, a plus I classifier, and then a. So you would have you, shkalneekx'í. I tell about it regularly. Or you, oh wait, that's the wrong verb. It needs a cut. So that's how na takes care of this. So, but that's why the U is there. But there are a couple of verbs where that U is kind of just frozen there. And ʼatudli.átk and ʼatudli.átk, or ʼatudli.átk and ʼatudli.átk, they are frozen in there. This is different than the high tone U and like you do a song. It's a low tone U. And it kind of means like to and fro, but in this case, it's not about the meaning. It's just part of the pattern of the repetitive of a na conjugation verb. To do the repetitive for a g conjugation, add K, zero classifier, CH. G conjugation is the exact same thing, but you change K to Yéil. So for example, they catch it regularly. You would say Kayaaní. And then if you wanted to say they grab it regularly, you're going to go and it's a L classifier. Yéil. No, that's incorrect. It needs to be ʼatudli. I'm having a day here.
Clicked on the conjugator earlier today while I was in like the intermediate ticket section of the website, and you came up with like a bad link. It was like, you can't access it.
Okay, the website's getting fixed, but not before the semester ends.
Yeah.
For all broken links, just go to the Google Drive.
But that is, I don't know if that's a broken link problem or a browser problem.
It said that it was moved to the owner's trash.
That's what it says, because the file did get trashed, but it got replaced with an updated file with the exact same name. But for some reason, that doesn't work. So, yeah, we've got some work to do over this.
If I search the curriculum folder,
Yeah, if you go in the curriculum folder, you'll find it.
I was searching for conjugator and I didn't find anything. Like the only thing that turned up was a document from like 2023.
Is there a connected word for tangent?
ʼatudli.átk. Well, okay, there is. Okay, we gotta look at this because it's funny and relevant, and then we'll go look at the drive. Okay. So we're gonna go look up tear. Anybody know the verb root for tear before I get there? Anybody know the word for rubber, like the substance? Anybody know the name for rain boots?
Oh, ZGP.
Set quan.
Zet-quan.
So set is the word for rubber, and it is also the verb root to tear. X'éig. So if we go to tear, we'll see don't tear it open. This should, I would say, tish it ya ʼatudli.átk. I tore apart a piece of cloth. X'éig. I am making a big pile of torn paper. The big pile is not in that sentence at all. The thing that is all torn up. Kudatankahídi. The saying that is torn in one place. Kudatankahídi. It won't tear. X'éig. I can't tear it. It's like, no, it won't tear. It pierced through an earlobe. Oh, the ear piercing hole tore through. X'éig. Ouch. Here's the verb we were looking for. This doesn't just mean talk too much. So you'd say X'éig. That also means they got up to say something. And now they're all over the damn place. And it's the exact same verb as for a fish to tear itself off of the hook, which is a very cool metaphor. Because like, let's say I tasked you with getting up and giving a welcome to everybody. 15 minutes later, we're listening to a story about you going to school and not having lunch that day when you were 8 years old. And I would say, ʼatudli.átk. You've torn yourself off the hook. But I wouldn't say that to you because that's rude and you just have to bear it. Okay. So now back to our other thing. Looking it up in the drive. I gotta get to the curriculum folder before I do that, so hold tight.
Can we show them from intermediate, from the webpage, how to get to this?
Okay. So let's go here, in the right spot. Oh. Right. Okay, so we go to intermediate Tlingit. And where we're going to the curriculum folder? It's right here.
Look, it's not even one of the hidden Tlingit.
So you go, yeah, it's in English. Things that are written in Tlingit are, they're not secrets, but it's just, I'll tell you off the record. So here's the Tlingit curriculum folder. So where I'd recommend going to look for things that I publish, I would go down to texts, and then I would go down to Twitchell, and then you would have all of the stuff here. The conjugator book. I gotta trash this conjugator web. Don't look at that. I should trash it right now.
If we go back to the top of the curriculum folder. Will the conjugator show up if we just search the drive at the top? It works for me, I just wasn't sure, so. You have to make sure you're actually in the curriculum folder. And when you're within a folder on the drive, it will just search that drive.
This is cool.
It didn't work for me
Oh,
today, this afternoon when I tried it, but just
If your internet's also spotty or laggy, Drive does not like that. It's going to tell you errors every single time. When I was trying to do this in Sheetcut, it was saying that nothing existed for me.
Yeah, I would recommend just going straight to go, once you're in the curriculum folder, scroll down to texts and then to Twitchell, and then you should be able to always get to it from there. So we'll work on it too. We're trying to get there.
Okay, excellent.
What are we doing here?
Oh, we have a story.
Okay, wait, what do I gotta fix to a ton? Let me highlight this. What color is exasperation?
Orange.
Orange?
Safety orange.
Orange. I don't see orange.
Yeah. I'll say
How about salmon color? What was the other one? Okay. They thought about it. Ya ate dujite akwahaya. Ate dujite akwahaya. What do we got there?
Ate and ye together make the way it's done.
The way. Now, and so if you have ade and yeah, the last piece of the puzzle is figuring out the verb. So we save the hardest part for last.
In that kind of like verb construction, like specifically here, there's like ya ade do jide. Is it always the most outer one that becomes
Yeah,
the?
well, ade and yeah are usually like the bookmarks.
Okay,
Everything can go inside.
and jide wouldn't ever be that.
Yeah, so that now the do jide is part of the verb. And this, the part of the verb itself, which ade and ye kind of are, but they're on this outer shell of it.
Okay,
Like
It's
it's
toward their hand, something future, I don't know ha, as far as prefix.
ha on its own, this verb, since there's a million of these ones as well, it means to move imperceptibly. So in this case, when you say achjit, you say achjit uwaha, it just came into my possession. It's not like anybody gave it to me. It's like, just happened to get it. So in this case, to say
The
a
way
future,
it will come into their hand.
yeah, the way he will obtain it. I guess you could say. You ate katbutlahashi hiti dah.
That salt.
There's
Say it again.
the water. Ka is on.
oh. Like the house. on-
Wooch is going to be perfective, probably L classifier.
Go look up hash. There's an L classifier hash to float or to drift.
Oh, so it's the house
That
that's
floating
floating.
house.
House that's floating on the ocean. So again, we've got this little suffix that stays low, turning this, you could say, ʼéig ʼatudli.átk. If you just said that on its own, it floated on the ocean. ʼéig ʼatudli.átk, hit. Or noun, the noun that was floating on the ocean. ʼéig ʼatudli.átk, Kayaaní. ʼéig ʼatudli.átk, Yéil. ʼéig ʼatudli.átk, Oz. I don't know, whatever the thing is. And now I got jineiyí.
Just like from there. Whale obtain it as well.
Is, but a little bit more. You'd have to say jineiyí.
All the salt water came from the floating house.
The house is floating on the salt water. So the ʼatudli.átk part doesn't matter. You could say jineiyí on its own. I could say
Oh,
ʼatudli gashat jineiyí.
it was from, he would obtain it from the house,
From the inside of the house.
from the inside, yeah.
And the yi is the inside from the outside. So if we're standing outside and I said, ʼatudli gashat jineiyí. What am I saying?
Kayaaní.
ʼatudli gashat jineiyí. Bonus round. Gashat.
Oh, it's like a key.
Yeah, my key. Gashat.
Like that lost.
Got it.
Plural moving.
Gashat, grab it. Jineiyí. Grab my keys from inside the house. So I'm telling you what to grab, and I'm also telling you where it is at the same time. Okay, let's take 5. And we're back, and nothing interesting happened. We just took a little break. Okay. We were all completely silent. Okay, what am I doing? I know, what part was I on? Oh, this part. Oh, this is fun. This story is about to get so fun. Okay, has anybody not... Wait, let me just make sure it's all... Okay,
Oh goodness.
anybody not read?
I haven't.
Okay, good.
Awe akadak. Say what ha ya wait, nakat waya awe nak say gi usaga dujiwu.
Yay, I think I found new things. I can do this one. Does that work? Oh.
Aw,
I don't know if I could do this one. My daughter said it works, but nothing works for me. Okay. Away. Okay. X'kalneekx'í waya is somebody's name. So we don't have to translate that. That's some dude named X'kalneekx'í waya. All I know is he was a mountain man. That's all I know. It's from Bob Zubo. He was a mountain man. Okay. ʼatudli.átk sepuaha. This is one verb. Do we know this verb? And if not, we should go look for it. We're gonna go look up ha, and let's go.
Reminds me of it has dawned on us.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it
So,
is, but that's what comes to mind.
Tuha kakewa'a.
Kewa.
So if we've got sewaha, what do you think are the parts that are in here? Let's just stretch it out.
Mathematics say.
Yeah. Se, and then
The classifier.
I'm not sure whether the I would be connected to the E or not.
So over here, let me just put something se, so sa, and perfective, and 0, and ya. Okay, so this is an uncommon situation. And I'm going to show it to you because this happens for two different things. If I do this exact same thing, but I change sa to ha. So sa is the base of the neck or a voice. In a verb, it's pretty much always a voice, except for in the verb to strangle something. Then it's the base of the neck. Ha is pretty much always the mouth, but it's also an opening. In these, only for this combination, you need to have the perfective marker and a third person subject. In this case, you will get sewa, and what do you think this one's going to be?
A1.
This is I think these are the only ones that it happens to. So you'd go, if there was a subject there, which this verb actually doesn't have a subject, just to let you know, but that would be sahwa and chahwa, sautua, kautua, right? But only in the third person would it, because you say yuchewatan, they talked. Okay? So that's just letting us know. So we're going to go look up, we're looking for sa, and then 0 for writing out the theme. This is what we're looking for. Sa, 0, ha. Let's try themes. And it has this doc in front of it too. So we just sort of keep that. We're already in the H's. Scroll up a bit. Here, there's a whole bunch of these ha verbs. So the way this is organized, when you have a verb root, the way this is going to be organized, it's going to go first by classifier, 0, S, L, SH. And if there's a plus D, those will also be in there. Then it's going to start going by adding thematic prefixes. So then you'll have, if you have ka, and the thematic prefixes will be alphabetical for the most part. So ka, 0, ka, 0, ka, 0, ya, S. So as we go through, we're looking for 0 and ha. And we've got sa. We're looking for sa in the pink. And so we don't see it here. We start up here.
I think
we've got ka, k,
there it is.
n, ka, dak, sa, 0, ha. That's our verb. For the object to remember this noun.
I've just been pronouncing it wrong for a while. That's why I didn't recognize it.
Oh, say what, huh?
I would say, Chashkakat Sewa Ach. I don't know why I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's very similar in its pattern. Akadak. Because there is a similar verb. So this is to remember. So look at n, ka, dak, sa, 0, ha. We can go down. There's a cousin verb to this, which is n, ka, with usually a T, object, sa, 0, up, to forget. Akatchat se woke up. Akatchat se woke up. I forgot. But then you could say a cut dog, se waha, I remembered. I remembered it. So now, we're gonna move this to our notes. And we're gonna come away, a ka dog se waha.
They remembered it.
They remembered it. This, copy and paste. Chanach qatwaya. Nap eki utsaqa.
Somebody's thing.
Oh yeah, somebody said that.
That's the octopus tentacle stick.
Well, we'll have it be a staff. This is a cane, a staff, a walking stick. And we have dujiwu.
He had.
To his hand.
Well, they
His
have it.
possession.
They have it. Yeah.
Dujiwu. So Raven remembered that Chanach Qatwaya has the octopus tentacle staff. Of course he does.
Is there a story about how he learned?
How he got it or anything?
I don't know how he learned that Waya had the staff.
No, this is just how the stories go. Like, oh yeah, he's got that octopus tentacle staff. And it's just like, sure. And there's some other things like that. Like there's another one where they're just they've got silly parts to them sometimes. And people with very long names.
Would be Yéil, a klein Aussetin, I don't know. Raven sees a lot.
Yeah.
The story we're going through, is this as it was told, or is this a simplified
It's
version?
the simplified version.
Okay.
You can look in the Raven book for the full version. This is mostly based on, well, it's Susie James and Robert Zuboff.
Yeah, because I was like, this is going a lot quicker than when you made Melly and I figured that.
Curious, does X'éig Utsaqa show up elsewhere, or is it just this story?
It's the only one, but there are lots of people have carved lots of these staffs. It's an important thing.
I've seen one when I was in Sitka last time.
Oh, okay.
There's a carver at the museum there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Who hasn't read yet? Go.
Yéil owen ʼatudli.átk Kayaaní ʼatlegi Wooch saga jineiyí hit Kayaaní Kayaaní Sahat.
Jeez. Yéil. Raven, all right.
Raven. He's doing a thing.
ʼatudli.átk.
Raven thought about it.
Aya X'éig naq ʼégi utsaqatin.
The strong.
Strong octopus staff thing. With this strong octopus tentacle staff thing.
Yachat hit Kayaaní.
Wait,
The fish house.
is that the same word for like a steak, or is it similar to that?
No, but it's a related
I think I
activity.
know what he's going to do. But,
He's gonna ʼéig. He's gonna ʼéig it. Let's go. Okay, I'm trying to test if like the themes is the fastest way to look up verbs, because it's just straight to the theme, right? So if we look up ʼéig, we're looking for, again, coming back to see what are we looking for. So if we took this one apart, can we identify what kinds of things? We're not going to worry about the letter I.
It's first person, perfective.
Well, I want us to pull it apart. It's not.
Oh, it's not perfective?
Pulling apart the
Future.
If we're
Future.
playing the verb
Future,
component,
future,
that's
yeah.
future.
Like equesity, yeah.
So if we took out our little tiles from the verb component theme, what comes first?
subject.
Uga.
Subject.
I'll take an object. Someone said object.
I like to work backwards.
Subject,
Conjugation.
Yes. And what must be in the conjugation for the future?
Ga. Uga.
What's the subject?
Ha.
What's next?
YA.
Classifier. Classifier.
It is a classifier, but a future needs to be minus I.
Oh, minus
all
I.
the time.
It's no classifier.
I'll do the last.
You didn't even say it. I had faith in them.
They said it. They said no classifier. I let them do it.
You did. I was wrong. Maybe I need to sit closer to the speaker.
Okay, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm on point. I'm on task. Kayaaní. So we're going to go look up ʼéig, and this will say I'm gonna ʼéig, right? So then we know that we're looking for zero classifier ʼéig, probably object and subject, since I already told you they're in there. So we go to K apostrophe. It's right there. So fast.
I couldn't find it.
Gaff it.
It's a variant. I found geek.
Yes. X'éig is the, if you're from cake, maybe Teslin, probably Hania, you would say it that way. We'll move this to the notes. Yachat hitkakwakechi. How do we translate that?
I will gaff the cinnamon house.
Or just hook.
I'm gonna go catch it.
For it. For.
After it.
But okay, you are right. You could say aqaqaqwagud. I'm going to go after it. But in this case, when you say aqa, which is usually aqa awe, and then. Yende kakqwasakhat. Without pulling it apart, what do you think? What kind of theme do you think we're looking for? Khat.
S classifier.
Classifier.
Minus I.
It's got a
We're just looking for the theme.
thematic.
Okay, so let's just-
Thematic.
There's got to be a subject there, right? Because kakqwa. So there's probably an object if there is. So we have enough to go look for it. Right? So when we pull it apart, it shows us those things that are there. But I think if we do that enough, we learn to sort of look at it and just say, okay, I know what kinds of things are in there. Back to themes, looking for chat. There's chat, fasten. There's ka, but that's a 0. There's ka, with an S classifier, to tighten, pull, tug. To tighten something, to tug or to pull on, that kind of makes sense. We have another one down here, to attach, but we need to have yund. So yunde, is he going to attach it, tie it onto? And then we have to resemble something, which is not our verb. It is, I think it's this one, but I don't know. We can also go look and just say, if we're not sure, we go in here. We'll look up hot. Kasacha, tighten, pull. Pull on something fastened at the other end. Connect or tie up. To resemble. This is our verb, in particular this one. So, if that is our verb, I will hook this salmon house and then
Pull it to shore.
Then I will pull it to shore. Yeah, hey!
Hard to concentrate on French right now.
Okay. Dude, are these getting longer or something? Okay. I guess right. Can you all see it? Is it blocked by anything in the Zoom? Yeah. Can somebody read it?
Wananes awe anakatwaya awe tu ide ye ayasaka yes kleske ade ya aksaks ka junedi isitsini naklegi wutsaga das gisitaniye.
Sheesh. Okay. Wanani sawe. You know that one? We covered that. Huh?
After a while.
Yeah, at some point. This aqa'awe and wananisawe are huge narrative tools. Aqa'awe is like after that. Wananisawe, at some point. This is how you do a time jump in your story. Sometime later, here's qanakh qatwaya.
Can I ask a small side question?
Yeah.
Can you use one anisawe for like, say like you had a chore and he's like, yeah, we need to do it, but like at some point.
It only works, I think, in narration of things that already happened. You'd say chakwat ginsa at some point whenever in the future.
Yeah.
And then there's different things you could say. You could say tashik hoyat adaye jagahtune. It won't be long until we work on it. So you can specify, or you could just say at some point in the future we'll do this. And chakwat ginsa is whenever in the future. But just be careful or else people might never do it. You said whenever, and the future's always there, so I'm just waiting. Do ideye ayosaka Yéil.
Raven said to him,
Kalke adeya aksaks kachuneti litsini naqtleqi wutsaqa tasir qisataniya. There's the verb. Here's all the information that we can manage. Let's do all the manageable stuff, and then we'll get out to the verb. What is ach? What is that? My. What is saks?
You
It is
tree.
you. It's you wood, but it's also a bow. I guess I need to specify that in the dictionary.
A bow is an
Yes. So how would
Is that
I?
a bow or a bow?
arrow.
It's like a bow and arrow.
You would make really good bows.
Like a weapon.
Bow, comma, or parenthesis weapon.
Yeah, but you use parentheses and so many other things. It's like you use it there for who is the
Oh.
speaker, for verb noun, like. But I do think it's something like that.
Because I
I
can
can-
read that as bow. Like,
What about
Yes.
what about doing that marker in italics saying a weapon?
Yeah. Well, so like the blue is this entry called TE, the translation equivalent, which is supposed to be very short.
Yep.
Then there is another one, which is black text, which is the definition. So in the definition, I could put bow, comma, the weapon, or I could do gray and do like a description.
Now I know what TE means.
Translation equivalent. Okay, so my bow, I'm just kidding, my bow. Jineiyí. Ooh, what do you think Jineiyí is?
Is that arrow?
It is. We could go look it up, but
Is that related to Kayaaní in any way? Okay.
Chukan. Jineiyí. It comes from Chun. What happened? Chun. Chun.
The sound for the
Ah.
square root.
Injure peg valve thing. And arrow. Also note, is right here. Jineiyí. The relational suffix only needs to go on the last thing.
And why is it a relational suffix instead of just listing the items?
Because it's mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you could say ʼatudli.átk. You don't have to say ʼatudli.átk. Just like a little mental note. X'éig.
Your
Yours.
strong octopus tentacle staff.
X'éig. That also wasn't.
Is that the in the place of, like, exchange?
Yes.
Like I say, I
What
feel
do
like he's asking, do you want to trade?
Yes. X'éig means to exchange places, and it also means to trade. So if you put X'éig in front of a handling verb, like a stick-like object, like this one is, you have trade. This is a big complicated one. Is there no way you can trade, like would have to rearrange this, your strong octopus tentacle staff for my bow and arrow? Raven does love to get tricky with language. Usually he will ask things like this. So you need to, if you know how to put a potential together, you could put a question into it. Is it impossible for you to do this? And that's how he likes to sort of ask things, because I think he likes to grammatically confuse people. Because if Raven came and talked to us, we'd probably just say, yeah, sure, I just cannot. I can't do all the conjugations, Raven, so sure. And so, since we're running out of time, in the full version, Kayaaní says no. Then Raven says, but this thing is magic. See that mountain goat way over there? Watch me hit it. and he shoots, but his arrow is not an arrow, but it's X'éig, which is what? Bird test out of nowhere.
Flicker?
Coon. That's a flicker. Huge ʼatudli.átk. Yayat a coup. Huge yacheti ʼatudli.átk.
There's a lot of.
I don't think they're here in Juneau though. Shkalneekx'í, magpie.
Oh, I didn't know we had magpies.
Are there magpies here? Where are they at?
During
We got an egg. Okay. So, but it's a magpie, and he says, "Fly over there and stab that mountain goat." And so it's like, but it just goes way over, and mountain goat goes. So, it's like, yeah, let's trade, bro. So coming back to this story, I'm just going to walk you folks through it this is the bonus round.
The noise you made for the bird. It should be the sound effect for the animated series story.
Okay.
I don't know, the way Raven acts, there's always like a manipulation of physics in some way. Like, I don't know, it's like.
No, it's doing cool stuff. Where is?
That's why he's B-rated.
I'm getting frustrated. Where this is what I want to share. Okay. What's it called? Lingi shkalneekx'í workbook. So we're putting this workbook together. It's going to be good. It takes a lot of work. With the octopus tentacle staff under his wing, Raven and his nephew Crow are flying along this big river. X'éig, Yéil, hold on. X'éig, Yéil, an this, at the mouth of the Alsek River, Raven, the way he is stretching himself way out to sea with with his strength, so he can hook that fish house, that house that holds the fish, with this strong octopus tentacle staff. He did a good job. He carefully hooked it with the octopus gaff, that house. He's pulling with all, then the way of strength. With all of his strength, he is pulling on it. On Dawud ayati, hit with his, his determination, with determination there, and all of his strength, it doesn't even budge. Adah this is such a adah to yoditanen, it's a Wooch. So Crow suddenly had an idea. He tells his uncle, he says this to his uncle, sing about X'éig. Away to jineiyí just the Kudatankahídi He is the one that has all of the strength that is inside the octopus tentacles.
Shouldn't Gashi be underlined G?
No. Kayaaní, or it'll be Yéil. Yeah. Gashi, sing it. Kayaaní yitin away ya Yéil tlelhulzi du jig ya chat al chathit yan dak a shausati. When he starts singing that song, with his start of singing that song, I don't know how to translate. The raven, it's easy. It's not difficult for him. It's not difficult for him to pull that house ashore and to anchor it right out to sea. Ach shuwatan wechahat, you yawacha Yéil, remove the door, says Raven. Tzachwelch cha'ach ashu yawatan. Crow removes the door. It's an undocumented verb. Await kakat uk chas til the katasaji were nuk yachat al shat hitch. The house released the king salmon, sockeye, coho, pink, and dog salmon. We're all going to salmon school, including my children. I had to say God 50 times to them. They just kept guessing on the salmon. And they know so much.
Why is that pretty typical for Lingi grammar having ka be after the first item and the second instead of the end?
It doesn't, it's different than English, right? Because this is how they said it when I asked them to translate it. So then you say, because English would go qad, chug, chas, qatil, which signals this is the end of the list. But Lingi goes, we're going to make a list now. And then it makes the list. Yéil chwysig yecheye Kudatankahídi Kayaaní ayik dach Wooch, like Wooch, wechat. The raven made it. The places that raven made, the flowing river, the salmon streams, they all swam into them, the fish. The salmon were happy to be in the fresh water. There should be a space there. Every year from out to sea. Oh, the salmon swim out to sea. There it is. They all swim out to sea. Jineiyí has a shkalneekx'í, has na qatiyid, has to kahaku a yi has a jineiyí. The salmon streams, into the salmon streams, they all swim. The salmon streams, so they can be there and they always release their eggs. Sorry, I'm getting tired. Every year, the people on the world get ready for the fish to come back, to return. Now, though, all of the people, the rich ones and the poor ones, they can easily obtain fish. Their foods became their way of life, and they love the salmon people very much. Even to today, it is there, Raven's footprints in the sand, the place where he gave it his all. When he pulled the house to the shore, up to the shore, from way out to sea, the Kudatankahídi. Yewe and Chuatan wait. It's been a fun semester. See you folks on Tuesday. Let me know if you have questions. Feel free to email me. I'll make sure to respond.
Gracias.
Yeah, geez.
It won't be long.